Alright, welcome back to Living 4x4. Today we're doing a cheeky little mod, well not even cheeky, pretty standard mod to Sam R2. This is something that we took it away camping for our first trip a while ago, and it's just realised straight away, it's such a basic thing but you rely so heavily on it and it needs to be some good quality stuff. So today we are installing this. That's when you're supposed to throw it.
Oh, okay.
Today we are installing this. What was that?
You said throw it.
Today we are installing this. Ta-da! Hopefully undamaged. The GME XRS Connect 4-wheel drive pack. So basically it's just a UHF, but this is, in my opinion, this is one of the best UHFs going around. I've already got one on the 80 series, so when it came to doing our new car, I didn't want anything else because, yeah, I've had a whole bunch of UHFs before, lesser quality ones and whatever, and this is just streets ahead. Just with the main part about a UHF is you just want it to work and you never want anything to go wrong with it, and you want it loud and clear. And this does all of that. But you don't want to be that bloke in the convoy that has the crap UHF, because everyone hates you and you never know it's you, and everyone else just gets so frustrated. And if you have one of these, you know what I'm talking about, because you will have the clearest communication and you can hear everything everyone says, and there'll be some bloke named James Ruse in his GQ patrol just going and they can't communicate with you if they're 20 meters behind you. But this will solve all your problems, so let's get into it. Shout out James Ruse. But this is what you get in the box. So obviously you got your handpiece here. That's got an inbuilt speaker in it and all your buttons for everything. There's a lot going on with this. There's a lot of fancy stuff. Thing I love about it is this is the bracket that it mounts to. So there's no clipping them on anymore. It's just a magnet. It's just straight on there. That is super strong and just makes it so much easier to hook it up when you're out full driving, because you don't want to be looking at where you're putting your UHF and taking your eyes off the road and whatnot. The actual unit itself, this one's got an inbuilt speaker in it as well, so we got 2 speakers going on, so it should be plenty loud enough. A few stickers, which is always a good thing. You got your wiring for the unit to get its power, obviously. You've got this cable it's like a microphone extension cable, so obviously if you had this in your dash or whatever, you can just, well, let's just get this off. Oh yeah. You can just plug it, you can plug your mic straight into there, but if you want to hide this, you need extra length, so that's what that is. So you can put that behind your dash or whatever. I think I'm just going to put mine underneath the seat just to make my life a bit easier. Your mounting bracket. So I was watching a video before, if you've got an old GME radio and you want to upgrade to the newer model, or you can still, the new ones bolt into the old bracket still. It's still the same bracket. So if you've got an old one, you can just easily swap it over. You don't have to drill any new holes or whatever. Oh, that's the other thing. You don't have to drill holes to mount this. So you can just stick it on with this, like, I don't know. Obviously it's pretty basic, but that way you don't have to drill holes in your new car. And if you don't like where you've put it, you can move it around and there's no holes there. You've just got, obviously, the aerial. Heaps of cable too, which is good. So I was almost even thinking about putting it on the back, but I'm just gonna mount it on the bull bar. Just keep it basic. And yeah, just a cap for if you think you can take the actual aerial itself off, but I'm never gonna have a problem with this one being so short. As I said, I got the bigger one over there. Yeah, there's not a heap to it, but hopefully it's a pretty easy install. So you can just, obviously, it just needs a power and earth, so it's not too bad, but trying to hook it up all neat and tidy is not always the easiest thing. So, and I haven't gone the Pro Wire because 1, Pro Wire's on holidays, 2, I need it next weekend, and 3, I just thought it would be good to show you how a novice who can't install anything install stuff. So I did go the Pro Wire though and got some snazzy things. So this is like a fuse tap-in holder situation. So I've been looking around for about an hour or something, figuring out how I want to place everything. Obviously I've pulled the glove box out already. There is a fuse panel like up in here. So I think, like, once again, I'm just making this up as I go, so I could completely change my mind. But I think I can just pull one of those fuses out and then plug in this like adapter and then it's got room for 2 fuses in it, just sort of piggybacks off the fuse holder. And the other thing I've got from ProWire, which you can buy all this stuff from, I don't know, wherever he buys it from. Just like a little plug to plug in the dash just to keep it all nice and tidy. And then that way I can move my, like if the UHF is annoying or in the way or we're parking in a dodgy area or something like that, you can just unplug it and put it in your glove box so it's out of the way when you're not using it. But hopefully we'll, I'll get to try and figure out how to install this thing properly and we'll get to it. All right, so here's my game plan at the moment until it all goes horribly wrong. I'm gonna mount the aerial here, but I'm gonna check out the bull bar for the wire just to make my life easy, because this bull bar is, obviously it's not gonna stay on, so I'll show you on the Razzler bar, like what I mean. For say on the Razzler bar, there's a hole, and then they just check out that for the wire to go through. That way, if you ever need to unbolt it, you don't have to drag the wire out of your car and out through it. So that way you can just unbolt it and just slide it back. It just makes it a lot easier to change bull bars or if you need to pull it off or something. Since this bull bar's hopefully not going to be in the car for very long, just gonna pull that out and just cut a little slot in it with the grinder or something. Once you do that, you've got to run the cable through the firewall, which I'm hoping is not too bad. I'm hoping to follow, ProWire installed some electric brakes the other day, so I'm hoping just to follow that wire through and in. And then I think this is going to be the easiest option for me to do. Is it's pretty easy to pull like the, I don't know what you call that, the foot panel, kick panel, whatever the hell that's called. Pull all that out, run it under the carpet, and hopefully just install the unit under the seat. I know a lot of people put it behind the dash, but there's not a lot of room. So I just think it's pretty easy, just put it underneath the seat. And that way, if you ever need to get to it or whatever, it's not gonna be a pain in the ass. Hopefully I can run my power and earth back up through the same way, back up into the fuse panel that's behind the dash up in there, and hopefully piggyback off the fuse. And then with my mic, I don't really have many spots left in the dash at the moment. So I've got one there, one left over. So I've got to pull that out and replace it with that port that I got from ProWire the other day. But that should be fairly easy. And then I think we're just gonna mount it here. But I've got to talk to Samantha about that because I really like with the UHF to have it in the center of the car so the driver and the passenger can get to it very easily. There's nothing worse than when someone, like if you're the passenger and you're in someone's car and they've got it on the driver's side, like, and you can't reach it, like half the time it's easier for the passenger to do the talking and the communication. Like they're reading the maps, they're sort of telling people where to go and stuff like that, or at least in our convoy anyway. So I like to have it in the middle of the car just so Samantha can just grab it whenever she wants, I can grab it whenever I want. There's no cables going across my lap or vice versa. So that's one thing I would recommend, is get you and your partner or just sit in the other side of the car and see how easy it is for you to grab the UHF in the passenger seat as well as the driver's seat. Just make sure your cable's not going to get tangled anywhere. But yeah, that's sort of what I'm going to do. So I reckon I'm just going to start with the aerial, try get the cable into the car in the first place. Yeah, we'll see how we go. All right, I've opted for the safest orders because sparks in cars don't really go together if you like your paint. All right, so there's my little checkout. So we'll just bolt the aerial on now. All right, that's on there. That's actually holding my bull bar together. I didn't realise that those bolts actually clamped together, but that should be right. So another thing I've learnt through my years of mucking around with stuff is it is a pain in the arse if you run your UHF or spotlight wires through your grill, because if you ever need to take your grill off, same thing, you got to pull all this wire out. So I should have gone and bought a whole bunch of conduit, but I didn't. So this is just a bit of rubbish I had laying around in my random wire box. Everyone needs a random wire box if you're pulling stuff off. but I'm just gonna run this just through there. So it shouldn't get pinched by the bonnet or anything, but I'm just gonna put that over it just to protect it, because it will be sort of rubbing a little bit. But that's how, same way it is on the 80 series and stuff. I've got heaps of wires coming through there for the winch and everything, and it's never been a problem. So, and this way, when we got to take the grill off one day or do anything, I don't have to disconnect my wires, because you can't really disconnect your UHF. So you got to pull it through the whole car and stuff like that. But bit of protection through the little gap there, and hopefully happy days. I'll just get it through all the firewall now, and then we'll worry about the UHF part. I've got the aerial cable run through. This is it here. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm gonna mount my UHF under the chair. Because yeah, obviously most people would put it behind the dash, but there's a lot going on there. So this is just one of the ideas I've had. The only problem I'm seeing so far is, because I'm mounting it here and not behind the dash like everyone else normally would, the extension cable for the microphone I think it's gonna make it, but I want to make sure before I go attaching it down there. So I'm just gonna run the microphone extension. I'm just gonna try and figure out how these little black things pop out of there and install the new port or whatever it's called, and then I'll run the wire just around, and we'll come down and hopefully into here. As for attaching this to the floor, I was hoping we had some Velcro at home, to be honest, so I could just Velcro it there, but that is a no-go. And because I'm in a rush and it's underneath a chair, I'm going to do some stuff that people will be questioning, I would imagine. I'm just going to zip tie this bracket to the carpet. I'm just going to put some holes through it there, and on the other side just zip tie it down, because it's not really going to move anyway. And as for it being on the floor, the only concern I probably have is, like, if one day we flooded the car and got water in there. But I saw, well, you know, those reels that just pop up randomly, like advertising. Shauno from 4 Wheel Drive 24/7, that bloke, they were doing like a bit of an ad on it, and they threw one in a bog hole and then put it back in the car and turned it on. It was still running. So I don't know. They're like, I don't really think the advertiser's waterproof, but I don't think we're going to have too many dramas. And yeah, I don't plan on getting water in this car, hopefully ever, because it's not meant to be doing that. If it was in the 80 series, that leaks like a sieve and has water come in everywhere. I'm hoping we can not have that with this one, and I'm sort of hoping we don't have to go through any crazy rivers or getting bogged or whatever. But I think if I just put it down there, it's just out of the way, easy, and should just be fine, hopefully. So if you want to judge me, you can, but this is what I'm doing, so get over it. Now, as for getting the little sort of blanks out of the dash, I've seen it on the Hilux page a lot. Everyone sort of asks how to get these out. So what they are saying to do is either just put a screw in it. So I've just screwed into it. Obviously, you're never going to use it again, so you just throw it out. And then just give it a bit of a wiggle, and hopefully it comes out, I think. There you go, just like that. So obviously that's a throwaway item, but you're never going to use them. But that's a pretty easy way of getting them out, because it's a very commonly asked question on the Hilux page on Facebook. How do you get them out? And that's pretty simple. So rather than pulling the whole dash apart, screw into it, pull it out, Bob's your uncle. And this is a little replacement piece. So it's got some wires on it. It's got, I'm tipping the wires that make the UHF part light up. I'm not going to worry about that, because I don't know how to do that, and that could be ProWire's problem one day when he's looking at the car. So shout out ProWire. When you find that, can you hook that back up, please? That'd be great. But yeah, basically, a bit hard to do one-handed. Basically, that's the microphone. Plug the microphone into that when it's in the dash. Plug the back of the extension cord into it. I'm going to do that first and feed it through there, just to make my life a bit easier. Then I'll just run it around and make sure I've got enough length. Well, I've just got it run around now. I've just got enough length to get me there, so that's good. As I said, most people mount them behind the dash, but I'm just going here just to make it a bit easier, and who knows what else I'm going to put behind there one day. I've got that's the wire coming in for the UHF there. Just piggybacked it off the fuse up there with that little adapter, and then just got my earth down here at the moment. I'm just going to hook it all up and just turn the car on and make sure it's actually got power. So
So I'm not sure what that fuse actually does. So I don't know if that's got power when the ignition's on or what's the go is. So I'll just test that. If not, I'll try the other one down below it and we'll see how we go. Well, I've just chucked the ignition on. I haven't got my earth hooked up and it's on. So, I don't know. I'll put it on scan.
Check if they're in national parks and they're driving around our helicopters shooting horses and camels.
Yeah, right. Copy.
What a job that'd be, eh? Cruising around in a chopper.
Well, I don't know how that's actually running without an earth because it's tied to the carpet and the wire literally isn't even touching any bits of metal. That's my earth there, so she's not touching anything. The aerial is bolted to an aluminium bull bar, which has plastic underneath it. So I don't know how that's running at all without an earth, but apparently it is. So I'll just hook up the earth anyway, because it might just be like a little bit. So let's hook it all up, neaten up all the wires, and then that will hopefully be it. I got all the cables run through the grommet all the way around up to the aerial, so I'll shut that. So there's actually heaps of room for this to clear, so if I just send it, there's actually like a fair bit of room up through there, so there's no worries about getting it caught, and then that way it's not through your grill, so don't have to worry about that getting in the way. And then got all the panels back on, she's all plugged in there, nice and tidy, all that. So this is what I've got underneath the chair. I know it's a bit messy, but you don't want to cut through your antenna cable because it's an absolute bastard just to join back together. There's like, yeah, don't do it basically. I've done it once and tried to redo the plug and stuff and it never worked ever again properly. And then I've got easy access to the fuse as well from the unit, and like I said, I've just zip tied this to the carpet. It doesn't, like, it's soft down here so it's not going to bump around, but like she's pretty solid anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. So literally put the chair back in, then we just got to mount the magnet somewhere on the dash where we can both reach it, and then that's it. All right, so she's in, got that all stuck on there. I did actually stick it slightly too far over and I couldn't open up my thing, but that's all right, I'll fix that. She's all plugged in and labeled just in case you forget for some reason. But yeah, it's just, that's it now. So I've got it on this side, just keeping all the cables out of the way. So that way, when I'm sitting over there in the driver's seat, I didn't want the cable coming up and around and just sort of getting in my way of all my buttons and stuff. So this is probably my favorite spot that I've found so far for it. But yeah, like I said, because it's not screwed in, you can just pull that off and get a new sticky thing and stick it back on. So you can move it around wherever you want. But may as well do the honors now. Look at that. That is beautiful. So the camera might be like glitching a bit on it, but it just does that with electrical stuff because of the LEDs in it. It's got OLEDs in it. So that means there's anti-glare, it's super bright, so you can just read it in any conditions whatsoever. So you won't get the glare off the sun, which is beautiful. It's got a 2-watt speaker in the mic and also in the unit underneath my seat. So this thing is crazy loud. Like, we'll never have this on full volume. Even the one I've got in my 80 series, it's exactly the same. That thing is super, super loud inside the car. Like, she's straight piped and got heaps of rattles going on and stuff. We still don't have the unit itself at full volume in the car because it's so loud, so you never have any problems hearing it. So if you got a loud car, it's definitely the go. This thing's also Bluetooth, so you can connect it to your phone via the GME app. And if they do any updates on it or put any sort of like, I guess, new features or I guess something in there, they can do it all wirelessly and just sort of download onto it. So as far as I know, that's the only UHF that you can actually Bluetooth to your phone and get updates as you go along. So that's pretty cool. Obviously, there's a heap going on with this. There's ways to scan. I think you can scan like just particular channels. Say if you're on a work site or something, and you've got, say, the guys down at one end running one UHF channel, and then on another, like up the other end, they're running another channel. I think you can scan between a whole bunch of channels and stuff like that. You've just got to set it all up in the actual UHF itself. But yeah, obviously, there's heaps going on with it. If you want to get all fancy with it, go check out the GMA website and check out all the features there, because there's absolutely a crazy amount to list. So I'm not going to bother with that. But for me, I just want a bright, clear sounding, loud radio with very good reception. Like, I'm not going to have any dramas with me little friend on the bull bar there. She'll go plenty far. So yeah, the only problem you have with having a good quality radio is if you're in the high country, you can hear everyone from ages away if you're up on top of the hill, but that's just how good they are. So, but you got 80 channels obviously, so you got plenty to choose from. So it's never really an issue, but it just goes to show how good they are. Like, you can hear people, like, we've been four-wheel driving once and heard people asking for help because they were bogged, and they were 3 mountains away. Like, that is just ridiculous. So yeah, as I said, I've run one in the 80 series for a very long time now, so it was an obvious choice just to try and get the GME in here, which I'm very happy, because it took me a while to put it in the 80 series and I can't do without it now. It's just the best. So that's gonna bring us to the end of this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Actually, it was a pretty easy install, no swearing this time. It was actually pretty easy. It's all just sort of plug and play stuff. Having that adapter that ProWire hooked me up with, I don't know where you get them from, so I'm sorry, but I'm sure if you do know where they get them from or what they're actually called, please leave it in the comments so people can find it, because that made life very easy just to plug it in, piggyback off the standard wiring loom. It just comes on with the ignition, so it's just super easy, and like I said, just plugs straight into the dash. Beautiful. What more could you want, really? But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you guys there.